learning the Sikha of the Chokaisai. This is in Chelik Zayin. Good to Sikha is Chelik Zayin, page 188. I always like to learn the Sikha with the footnotes, and the footnotes on the footnotes as well. So we'll try. In this Sikha, there's many footnotes that you have to get very into deep waters, to deep sugyas. So we'll see how much we can do. After Tisha, we got new fresh kaiches, and we can dive into it. You say? 100%. Chelik Zayin. Okay, so we're going to learn Ois Aleph today with the Horus. In Pasik, Vishbati Chayera Menoretz. The Pasik says in Parshas Chukaisai that I will Vishbati, which means I will destroy. Okay, we'll see in a second what the meaning is. Destroy all wild beasts from the land. Brengt the Teres Kainim a plukte zwischen Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. So the Teres Kainim says that there's an argument about this. Rabbi Yehuda ma'avira min ha'olam. Rabbi Yehuda says they will be eradicated, they will be destroyed and removed from the world. So Lasad Lavid, there will be no more wild beasts, which means there will be no more, whatever, all the wild animals, a lion, a wolf, all. Rabbi Shimon mashbisan. What does v'hishbati mean? Shalai yaziko. Shalai yaziko. That is, they will not cause any harm. Their nature basically will change. That instead of being wild and causing harm, their nature will change. They won't cause any harm or damage. Now, the Noch bringt the Teres Kainim Araye to das Reb Shimon. It brings a proof to Reb Shimon's opinion that the wild beasts will continue to exist in the world. It's just that they won't harm anyone. V'chein hu oimer Moshiach Shiur liyom haShabbos. When it says Moshiach Shiur liyom haShabbos, and this refers to liyom shekulei Shabbos, Lasad Lavai, where the world will be completely Shabbos. And what does Shabbos mean? Lemashbis mazikim in ha'olam, that when Mashiach comes, the Eibusher will remove all that cause damage or harm from the world. Mashbisan shalei ziku. So just like by Moshiach Shiur liyom haShabbos, it means that they will not cause any harm. So v'hishbati in this pasuk means the same. Then he brings v'cheinu oimer. It also says in the Yeshaya v'gar zevim keves that the wolf will lie with the lamb.
What does it mean over there?
Where? Yeah.
What does that mean?
That what?
It means destroy or means they won't?
It means there won't be mazik.
Right.
They won't be mazik. The Rabbi is going to address that in a moment.
What's going to be destroyed is the fact that they won't be.
The nature to be mazik. Yeah. And then it quotes the famous psukim: Gar zevim keves, the wolf will lie with the lamb. V'nak katan noyeg bam, and a young lad will lead even a wolf and the wild animals. V'shia shayonik al chur pesen. A child will play around at the hole of a snake, and it won't get bitten by the snake. Melamed shetinik mi Yisrael osid lahishid yadai. Even a little child will be able to put his hand l'toch galgal einishel tzefani into the eyeball of a tzefani, which is a venomous snake, and there won't be any venom. He won't get bitten by the snake. So what do we see from these psukim? That Lasad Lavai, the snake, the wolf, are going to exist Lasad Lavai, but they just won't harm the child. So that's a raya to Reb Shimon's opinion.
They have to eat lunch. What are they going to eat?
Right.
They'll eat
Sushi.
Or eat grass,
yeah,
like the red animals.
they won't be mazik.
And we also.
They're gonna go vegan.
Vegan, vegan.
Is him then to move on. Okay, so what's the questions we have here on this Teres Kainim? So the Rabbi asks two questions. One on Reb Shimon, one on Rabbi Yehuda. Aleph, number one, what is the raya from Pasuk Moshiach Shiur liyom haShabbos? What's the proof that the Teres Kainim is bringing to Reb Shimon's opinion? That just like it says Moshiach Shiur liyom haShabbos, that what does that mean? As mashbisan, a mashbis mazikin, that the Eibusher will get rid of the fact that they harm. Was what Zayin Law said. So how do we see from there main shaloi yaziku that this means that they will not harm? Where do you see in the word liyom haShabbos this point more than in the word vishbati? As the Rebbe elaborates the question, the word haShabbos is doch von lashon shvisa. The word haShabbos is the same as the word shvisa. Punkt wie the word v'hishbati. So it's the same root. It's the same word. Is was is liyom haShabbos mer hechocha? So how is the word liyom haShabbos more of a proof as this main shaloi yasiku that they're going to exist but just not harm? V'hishbati chayira. Kishem v'hishbati. Taich Rabbi Yehuda as das meint mavirim in ha'olam. In the Ishbati, Rabbi Yehuda says it means that they will be removed completely. Can doch azay euch lernen in Pasuk Yom HaShabbos? Mizmor Shel Yom HaShabbos could also mean that it'll be a day of Yom HaShabbos where the Eibusher will totally remove and eradicate all that harm in the world.
But he found the medrash that's fitting with Rav Shimon.
It's the same medrash.
The kasha on the medrash.
Yeah, it's the same Toras Kainim. The Toras
Same
Kainim bring,
Toras
the Toras Kainim
Yeah.
brings this machlokes,
Yeah.
and then Toras Kainim goes on to say, "V'cheinu oimer," a raya. Rav Shimon's opinion is from Mizmor Shel Yom HaShabbos. What's the raya? There is now the question on Rabbi Yehuda. Le'idach Gisa, on the other hand, the question here is in Pasuk V'gar Zevim Keves V'Gaimer, the Pasuk in Yeshaya, it says V'gar Zevim Keves is doch mefurish. As euch la'ased von zayin, there will be. It's clear. It'll be these the alachayas amazikas, all the wild beasts, ze'ev, the wolf, dove, the bear, which I didn't quote it, but it says there in the pasuk, aryeh, a lion, or nachash, a snake. As his marinit was loyerei v'loyashchisu, as the pasuk that goes on to say that they will not cause any harm and they will not destroy anything. So, Heinz, we can God Rabbi Yehuda learn in Mavirim and Olam. How could Rabbi Yehuda argue with a clear pasuk that says that it will be removed from the world? That's the question. Okay, so let's see how out of 5 the Rebbe attempts to answer this second question there. Now it says the Rebbe ve'ein letaretz. You cannot answer for Rabbi Yehuda regarding these psukim of V'gar Zevim Keves, and the Rebbe says that there's actually one of the Mefarshim that answer this. Ki b'derech hakodesh lo teiris kainim kan. In the Sefer Derech HaKodesh on the teiris kainim he says so. Rabbi Yehuda sviralei. What does Rabbi Yehuda hold? Shaksuvim shabi Yeshaya sham. Those psukim of Yeshaya nemru b'derech mashal. It's not talking about animals. It's all just a parable. What is it a parable for? Al umas ha'olam. It refers to the goyim that are persecuting Yidden and are causing harm and damage. Kedas Rambam Hilchas Malachim Reish Perikid Beis. This is what the Rambam says. When the Rambam explains that Lasad Lavai there'll be no Isis Mavsim and no change in Minhagish Alaylam, and the Rambam explains, it says V'gar Zevim Keves, which is a change in nature. Says the Rambam, no, it's not referring to a wolf, it's not referring to a lamb, it's all a mashal for the Yidden and Goyim living peace side by side. So maybe that's how Rabbi Yehuda teaches this pasuk here as well. Okay, so the Rebbe here says you can't answer this way. And the reason is, the point that Rebbe is going to say here, it's a little bit of a long answer, but the point that the Rebbe will explain here is, how does Rabbi Yehuda teach the pasuk V'ishbati chayera? Rabbi Yehuda doesn't teach that as a mashal. This pasuk V'ishbati, Rabbi Yehuda says, Ma'aviran min ha'olam. So if regarding the pasuk V'ishbati, Rabbi Yehuda is not teaching it as a mashal. How can we say that when it comes to the pasuk V'gar Zevim Keves, he is teaching it as a mashal? So the Rabbi explains, Shaharei hakos V'ishbati chayera. This pasuk where it says that the Eibusher will be mashpis, wild beasts. L'das Rabbi Yehuda who bittul davar min minhagish alaylam. The way Rabbi Yehuda translates this, that's all animals, all wild beasts will be totally removed from this world. So who bittul davar min minhagish alaylam yoiser mi v'gar zevim keves. That's nullifying the nature in the world even more than the pasuk v'gar zevim keves. Now, l'das Rambam, the Rambam's opinion, shesvirelei should be Moshiach Shiur lo yibatel davar min minhagish alaylam. The Rambam that says that when Mashiach comes, nothing will change in the nature of the world. And therefore the Rambam says that the psukim of V'gar Zevim Keves are all just a parable for Goyim. So what does the Rambam hold regarding the pasuk V'ishbati chayera? So haregam hakasav V'ishbati chayera, this pasuk here, when it says the Eibusher will remove chayera, so the Rambam says this pasuk is also a mashal. Ubimikol shekein ma'akasav V'gar Zevim Keves. If the pasuk V'gar Zevim Keves could be a mashal, so this pasuk where it says something even more radical, Hishbati, that all the wild beasts from the entire world will cease to exist. So the Rambam says that such a great miracle will not happen, but it's all just a mashal for the Goyim that they won't disturb Yidden. The Mefarshim of the Rambam say this. The Rambam doesn't quote the pasuk V'ishbati. The Rambam only quotes the pasuk V'gar Zevim Keves. But it's understood that if the Rambam says V'gar Zevim Keves is a mashal, V'ishbati chayera is also a mashal. And it's maybe a bigger doichik to say that the lashon of a pasuk is written as a mashal than to say that the pasuk in Navi is written as a mashal. But there's no other way to explain the Rambam though. The Rambam says that loss of love there'll be no isis and mavsim. So you have to say that Bishbati chayera is just a mashal. Now, on the other hand, though, But what is the Medrash saying? What's the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda? Shevishbati chayira kipshutai. What is vishbati chayira? It's to be taken literally. That it means that, as quoted inside the Sikha, mavira min ha'ilam. So if so, harevim the kol shekain so shvirale. So definitely his opinion is shagam haksuvim should be Yeshaya sham. The psukim in Yeshaya heim kipshutan should also be taken literally. That the wolf will lie near the lamb. So if so, the question that Rabbi asks inside the Sikha comes back. How does Rabbi Yehuda answer this pasuk? How could he say mavira min ha'ilam when there's a clear pasuk which Rabbi Yehuda learns kipshutai that says that there will be a wolf, there'll be a lamb, and they'll just lie side by side? Okay, now we're going to learn the Shuli Agilyan, the Haaretz on the Haaretz.
Okay.
So here the Rebbe brings other ways of understanding the pasuk of Ishbati Chayira min Haaretz. The Ramban can, the first star. So the Ramban here explains, Shelo yevoyu chayis rois ba'artzachem. What does it say in the pasuk? Ishbati Chayira min Haaretz. That the wild beasts are not going to enter into Eretz Yisrael. That's all it means. And the Ramban explains, what's this bracha all about? Ki b'hiyois hasova. Because there'll be so much, the Yidden will be satisfied with so much food. U'berabais ha'toive. And there'll be so much goodness for the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael. U'b'hiyois ha'arim mileyes adam. And therefore there'll be so much food and so much good, and the population of Yidden will grow exponentially. And therefore, all the cities in Eretz Yisrael will be full to capacity. So therefore, loy tevayena chayis b'yishuv. So the animals are not going to come into Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael today has areas which are settled and has areas which are not settled. So animals and wild beasts have space to come into Eretz Yisrael. But Lasad Love, the entire Eretz Yisrael from border to border is going to be populated with Yidden because of the abundance of good and the abundance of Yidden that are going to be there. So there'll be no place for Chai Yisrael to come into Eretz Yisrael.
It'll be like the washing machine in 70.
It'll be, yeah.
Well,
With all the people that are going to get up, whichever Tekufa that Ramban is talking about here. I mean, after Tchiyas HaMesim, Osad Lava, it says that I see the Isha Shetelet B'chol Yom. Women are going to give birth on a daily basis. It also says about Eretz Yisrael, that Eretz Yisrael is called the Eretz HaTzvi, that it will expand. It will expand with the size of the population of the Yidden. The land will expand, but it'll be full from border to border. It's interesting because the way that Ramban is putting it is when it says Vishbati Chayira, there's no ness involved in this. There's nothing supernatural about this. Right. It just means that the animals will have no space to come into Eretz Yisrael, just like animals don't enter into a city, which is people are living there. So naturally, Eretz Yisrael will all be a place where it's full to capacity with human beings. The animals won't come in.
Is this fit like Rabbi Yehuda or Rabbi Shimon?
It is not fit with Rabbi Yehuda l'chayda. No, Chayda does not fit with Rabbi Yehuda. I was going to explain. We'll see. So based on the Ramban's pshat, Vishbati Chayira ain't a bittul min hagashalaylam. Vishbati Chayira is a bracha. It's a bracha for the population of Yidden and Eretz Yisrael, but it's not nullifying in any way the nature of the world. That's not based on this. Based on this, we can understand what the Rambam says. That the Rambam quotes and he addresses that we find in Yeshaya v'garzev and keves that the wolf lies with the lamb. How could I say the Rambam asks on himself that there'll be no miracles? So the question is, why is the Rambam bringing up this question from the pasuk in Yeshaya? Why didn't he address the pasuk in Torah where it says Vishbati Chayira? That sounds miraculous. So why does the Rambam only ask from Yeshaya? So the answer is Ki pasuk zeh, because the pasuk here Efshel Farshika Ramban. It could simply be explained like the Ramban Ve'ein Tzarich Litchayk Shename B'derech Mashal. You don't have to say that it was said only as a mashal, especially as you mentioned. It's a pasuk in Torah. To say that the pasuk is only being written as a mashal is a daichik. So therefore the Ramban says, yeah, in the pasuk in the Torah there's like a no raya for this, but it's from the pasuk of Yeshaya. There the Rambam has a question. Okay, this is the Ramban's pshat. Aval, the Rebbe continues, mipashtus loshen hatayris kainim. But when you look into the simple loshen that the Tayris kainim says when it brings Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, what does it say? Ma'viram min ha'olam. So it says olam. They'll be removed from the world completely. Even Rab Shimon that says that what's going to happen is they're not going to be mazik. What's the lashon that says? He also uses the term min ha'olam. I didn't quote it inside the Sikha, but that's what it says there in the Tayris Kainim. And additionally, the Rebbe points out that Befrat Shemishanim Yeloshen HaKosef. The Teres Kainim is switching from the language of the pasuk where it says Haaretz, Bishbati Chayram and Haaretz. Haaretz could be Eretz Yisrael. It doesn't say Artzachem. Haaretz could be interpreted both ways. Haaretz could be from the land, which means from the face of the earth in general, or Haaretz could mean your land. It's not 100% clear in the pasuk, but the fact that the Teres Kainim is changing the Lashon Aretz to the word Olam, it means that it's going to be removed from the face of the earth in general. Mashma shachais rois yushbesu mikol olam, that the wild beasts will be removed from the world in general. So if so, this is obviously a great miracle. And so the question that the Rebbe asks inside the Sikha still stands, that according to Rabbi Yehuda, how are we going to explain? What does this mean when Rabbi Yehuda says that Maviram in Ha'ilam, when the pasuk clearly says that the Gar Zev and Keves?
But the Ramban could make a still explanation for the Rambam, but the Rambam doesn't have any questions from this pasuk.
Yeah, and so
why not have Varin in this pasuk?
Yeah.
That it's a marshal.
Right.
It's not. So it came out as Adam.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So Geshmak Pshat in the Rambam. But it doesn't, the Rebbe is not necessarily saying that this is the way the Rambam learns the pasuk. We don't know how the Rambam learns the pasuk. But the Rambam doesn't bring up this pasuk because it's possible to explain it like the Ramban. The Payol could be, once you're forced to say, benegay to the pasuk in Yeshaya, that the pasuk there in Yeshaya is a mashal, could be he'll also learn that Vishpati Chayra is a mashal. But if not for the pasuk in Yeshaya, mitzad the pasuk of Vishpati Chayra itself, there's no room to, you don't have to say that it's a mashal. You could just simply say like the Ramban. Okay, now there's another Shuli Agilian here. 2 stars. V'yesh loymar sha'amakar ledas ha'rayvet sham. So as it's known, the Rayvet argued with the Rambam. The Rayvet says that Osad Lavai, there'll be Bittul Mon Hagishalaylam, and the Rayvet says all these psukim, and the Rayvet brings other Mekayos that you find in Chazal. Many things it says, Osad Lavai, there'll be Nissim. There's the famous Gemaras in the end of Ksubis and in other places where it talks about the fact that Osad Lavai, the trees are going to grow biscuits and the delicacies and all kinds of nevuos that it says on Osad Lavai that the Gemara speaks about. So the Rayvet says, you see clearly in Chazal, in many, many places that there will be Bittul min hagish alayla. Now, so one of the psukim that Rayvet quotes is the pasuk Vishbati Chayra. So the source of the Rayvet that says Vishbati Chayra min haaretz kipshutai, that it's to be taken literally, that it's going to be b'derech nes, that the Eibush will remove the wild beasts from the land. Re'ei Radvaz sham. So the Radvaz there says ve'ein zu asaga. The Radvaz says that when the Rayvet quotes this pasuk Vishbati Chayra, it's not a question on the Rambam b'chlal. Kamoshe sharak suvim mashal gam zeh mashal. The Radvaz says that the Rambam explains this pasuk also as a mashal. So the Radvaz doesn't give the answer that the Rebbe gave before, that Vishbati Chayra means just in Eretz Yisrael, like the Ramban. The Radvaz says that it's all a mashal.
They have the situation with the Yidden getting into Eretz Yisrael.
Yeah.
Rashi this explains that they came in little by little.
Lot. Yeah.
Because this way the animals will see them and they'll start being afraid and running away. So as the Yidden came in, they themselves cleared out.
Right. So it shouldn't become a desolate.
So why should it become an union of where mitamol? I'm gonna get rid of it.
But even then, when Yidden came into Eretz Yisrael the first time, it doesn't say that Yidden populated the entire Eretz Yisrael mamish, and that there was no place that there were any wild beasts in Eretz Yisrael. The areas where they settled, the way they waged war wasn't that they wiped out an entire city in a very quick manner, and then it would take time until they would settle that place, and then it would fill up with wild beasts, and they would have a problem. That's what it says.
14 years.
7 years, and then 7 years. But this concept, the way it's going to be lost of love, that the entire Eretz Yisrael will be settled from border to border. That's lost of love. Mishpati Chayram and all. It's according to the Ramban's pshat. Okay, well, the Rebbe here concludes.
Goes on terrorists.
No, that's for sure. Oh, that's for sure. Chayram and all. That's all of them. All of them. 1 second. There's the conclusion of the order.
You're talking about a metaphor already.
Yeah.
So Chayram, he's a terrorist. Finish.
Yeah. So humidrashas ateres kainim kan. The source of the Rayvet that says that the pasuk Vishpati Chayra means kipshutai. What's the source? The source is the teres kainim here, because both according to Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon it says mina oilam, which is a nest. It's not just an Eretz Yisrael. That's the mocker. Okay, so Bekitza, what is the Kamare? We have in the pasuk Vishpati Chayra min haaretz. three different interpretations: either Maviran Min Ha'ilam, or the Mashbisan Shalei Yizuku, or the Ramban's Pshat that they won't enter into Eretz Yisrael naturally, because Eretz Yisrael will be populated from border to border.
They're going to have Shamrim by the
No Shamrim, no need for Shamrim. It says Lasad Lave Prozis Teisha of Yerushalayim. Even the city of Yerushalayim will not need any walls surrounding Yerushalayim. The city will be expanded. No need for any Shamrim.
No, they wouldn't select the final.
Oh, it's at the covet of the Beis Hamikdash.
What does the Rebbe?
He wants the end.
You want to know what it says in the end of the Sikha. You have to go through step by step. The process of the process itself is part of the limud, part of the learning. This is actually a very deep Sikha that I was going to bring about the of Shvisa or Ashbasa, the way it is, getting rid of Chometz, then the concept of Shvisa, the way it is in the mitzvah of Shabbos. And from there, the Rebbe is going to come back to the end of Masechta Tamid, where it speaks about Chad Charuv, that there'll be the time period where the world will be Charuv, destroyed. It's a lot here in the Sikha, and then the Rebbe will eventually come. There's a lot. It's very, very deep Sikha. Mitzvah. Go through it step by step.
Scare.
I guess it's the film thing, huh? Yeah. Okay.